Good afternoon, everybody. This is Sharzad Morgan here. Let's talk about why it really doesn't matter who's going to win the election and why nothing is going to change. I know that people are really for Kamala or really for Donald Trump, and they think it's going to make a big difference. But the people who are really running the show, the oligarchs, the rich people who own 99% of all the assets in this country, the upper 1%, they're going to make out, and they only make out because we, the rest of the people, are basically their wage slaves, okay? As nothing's going to change. Donald Trump's tariffs are not going to bring back manufacturing jobs because the last time he imposed tariffs, what happened? The other countries retaliated. China retaliated and put tariffs on farmers' goods. I think it was corn at the time. So they're just going to retaliate when we break the rules of the world, the tariff treaties, World Trade Organization rules, and exporting or stopping some illegal immigrants is not going to bring down the price of housing because the rich people are stopped investing in our country and they are putting their money into assets like stocks and housing, which are extremely overvalued because they stopped investing in our country. I think a big problem is when they started saying, it was a Supreme Court law in 2010 that allowed companies to invest unlimited amounts in political campaigns. And therein lies the problem. The oligarchs, yes, we have oligarchs, are running the country and they do not care about us. As long as we don't rise up and we're content, it'll be just fine. And every time there's a recession, instead of welcoming a return to equilibrium, letting house prices fall, they're never going to let that happen because they have financialized the economy. That's why the rich keep getting richer and everybody else keeps getting poorer. And unless they take money out of politics and abolish the tax code where everybody is taxed equally, nothing is going to change. Because see, they tell you if you just work harder, you can make it. But what they don't tell you is that you are taxed on the income. You are taxed on your income, but you're not taxed on your assets. And that is a huge, huge problem because it means that the people that were born into money, they can pass it on tax-free to their kids and get their kids into the good schools and all of that. They keep maintaining the money. They own the political class and they have made laws to benefit them. And no matter who's in office, a Democrat or a Republican, one thing they all do is they cut the taxes for the rich. They never cut the taxes for the working moms or the children, child tax credits. They don't do that. They cut the taxes for the rich. And that's why the rich are getting richer. Now, the main thing is that no matter how hard you work, your productivity is going to flow to the owners of the company and they're going to pay to themselves. But in the past, when the rich people want to make money on their money, and there used to be opportunities in this country to invest in railroads and ports and canals, dams, freeways, education, factories, so many factories, technology companies, like we were the innovators, right? But they stopped investing in all that. And in the 90s, they started doing these buyouts where they would just basically vampire, suck all the lifeblood out of an existing company, cut a bunch of costs, called laying people off, sort of like even Boeing did. We're going to cut corners. We're going to make things cheaper. We're going to cut quality control. We're going to use cheaper parts. We're going to do fewer inspections. And we're going to try to just make more and more money. And the more money we make, we're just going to buy the stock back to enrich ourselves. We're not going to give it to the workers. And all of this is okay because both parties are for it. You are taxed on your income, but not on your assets. So whether your assets are real estate, stocks, dividends and banks, those are taxed at a lower rate. And I'm not a tax attorney, but I believe you can pass on a lot of wealth to your children tax-free somehow. But those of us who are working, we pay taxes on our income, and that's most Americans, and that's why we will always stay poor. And not only are we taxed on our income because we don't have that many assets, most of us don't have that many assets. Like I said, something like 90 or 95% of the stocks are owned by 1% of the people, something like that. It's really hard to get ahead, and because these big companies are investing in real estate and residential homes instead of infrastructure, research and development, education, any factories. They're not investing in that anymore. They are putting their money into plumping up assets that already exist. When a big company like BlackRock decides that their best return on their money is in something that was already built by reinflating it, flipping. They're flippers. That's how they make their money. So not only is this showing that there is a lack of opportunity in investing in this country, but it also shows that unless you already have assets, it's hard to get them because they've become so expensive. And neither Donald Trump nor Kamala Harris is addressing this problem of malinvestment and unequal taxation and money in politics. Therefore, nothing is going to change. Now, I remember the internet bubble, the housing bubble. I used to think that the media didn't talk about it because they were dumb. But now I realize it's all part of the system. Greenspan knew there was a housing bubble. They all knew it was a housing bubble. I was a realtor. I was calling up PBS, KPBS, the local newspaper, the San Diego Union Tribune. No one wanted to talk to me because why? They get money off the advertisement from the realtors. You know, the news is a propaganda arm of, whatever their beliefs are. They've become opinion pieces. Gone are the days of foreign correspondents in foreign lands. Gone are the days of independent media and journalists. Everything has become more and more kind of homogenized. Like we have these like monopolies. And neither candidate is going to change this. What we really need, I think, is people to just be very innovative and start their own businesses. That's what we really need. Because making money by working harder is not going to work. Now here's I'm going to link in the description a video from Geopolitical Economy Report. He does a pretty good job, and this morning he was really laying out exactly what I'm saying. So I'm going to copy some of his charts. Let's see how far I get on this video. I have somewhere to go, and the video is called "Billionaire BlackRock CEO." Quote, doesn't matter who wins the US election because they both are going to support Wall Street.
The US president is because Wall Street is going to continue to benefit, and billionaire capitalist oligarchs like him are going to continue to get richer and richer. This is what the billionaire BlackRock CEO said. Quote, I'm tired of hearing this is the biggest election in your lifetime. The reality is, over time, it does not matter. And the Financial Times noted that BlackRock has $11.5 trillion in assets under management. I repeat, 11.5 trillion with a T. That makes it the world's largest investment company. And Larry Fink said at this financial industry conference, quote, we work with both administrations and are having conversations with both candidates. So this is from the mouth of one of the most powerful oligarchs on Wall Street, the CEO of BlackRock. They are working with both Republicans and Democrats, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. There are really no differences when it comes to Wall Street. And I really need to emphasize how powerful these giant asset managers on Wall Street are, like BlackRock. In fact, BlackRock is part of what's known as the Big Three asset managers, which are BlackRock, Vanguard, and State Street. Together, these three Wall Street asset managers are the largest owner in 438 of the 500 most important American corporations on the S&P 500.
Okay, so now a big problem is we have a huge wealth disparity in this country. So that is a big problem that neither candidate is discussing. That is the big problem. So many people are poor. That's the whole point of this video. It's not your fault. The rich people are no longer investing in our country, and they are investing all this money into their assets, making themselves richer and richer, making the income disparity bigger and bigger. And neither candidate is addressing this and has a plan to change this. Okay, this is a huge problem.
Cartoonish the inequality is. The bottom 50% of households are almost not visible on the chart. In fact, in 2011, just 3 years after the financial crisis that was started by Wall Street, the share of wealth owned by the bottom 50% of households in the US reached its low point of 0.4%. Meanwhile, in the past few decades, the wealth of not just the top 1% has skyrocketed, but the wealth of the top 0.1% has broken records. According to data from the US Central Bank, the Federal Reserve, the top 10% own 2/3 of total household wealth. The top 0.1% owns 14% of household wealth. The top 1% owns more than 30% of household wealth. And the top 10% owns 67% of household wealth.
So therefore, the bottom 90% owns only 33% of household wealth. And this is a trend that I do not think is going to change anytime soon. Have you heard Kamala or Donald talk about this? Now, they put Kamala in because they want a vacuous airhead they can control. And they're letting Donald run because he's just a charming snake oil salesman. He's very charming, but he's not talking about any of this, you guys. Wake up, wake up. Here's a really good chart showing how the wealth inequality, the productivity has really increased over time, but the wages have not. That's why the share of income earned by the top 1% has grown so much more than for everybody else, because they're taking all of our productivity and giving it to themselves. So we have a huge income disparity. We have a financialization of the US economy, where the money is going into more and more financial products like houses and stocks rather than into the real economy or into wages. Inflation is really high because I think we've just printed too much money, and Blackstone has become the world's largest landlord. That's why your house prices are high. So the Blackstone CEO, Steven Schwarzman, funds Donald Trump. Kamala Harris and Trump are both wooing Wall Street. And the Trump tax cuts are going to make the rich much richer. Basically, like the Princeton study says, the US is an oligarchy. So what can you do? I think we have to be innovative, start businesses, and cut back on consumer spending. And also, if we want to make money, we have to invest in assets, even though these assets are extremely overvalued. I want to be clear. The stock market in the 80s or 90s was worth probably, I think, like 15 to 20 times of the forward-looking earnings, called the PE ratio, price to earnings ratio. I think like 12 to 15 was usually like standard. We're at 36 now. It's way overvalued, but they're not going to let it crash. I'm pretty sure of it. And venture capital funds used to invest in startups. I think now they're just investing in what's already there and trying to siphon money out of it. Because when BlackRock is buying residential real estate, that seems to me like a very embarrassing move to say that's the best value we can get for our money, is to buy residential homes. That's how low we've sunk. And now we're looking at, all of our military expansionism. We're up against countries that have not diverted their resource into all these military bases, and we're kind of an empire in decline. So what are we going to do to turn things around, you guys? I think we have to be kinder to each other. We have to innovate. We have to stop spending and invest in assets. That's what I think. The comments are off, so I won't be able to know what you think unless you hop on over to the members area and become a member, because those comments on there are on. This is not a world of really nice people all over the internet who want to watch videos and contribute. There are some very bad, like Donald Trump would say, not so nice people on the internet, leaving not so nice comments on the internet. Therefore, the comments are now off on the public channel. But I still want to make videos, and I just want people to know, if you're struggling financially, it's not your fault, it's the system. And neither candidate is addressing it, because why would they? They're part of the system. But I think that, we the people need to use our creativity to just start up different businesses, treat each other better, and invest in assets, and cut back on consumer spending. Stop buying stuff. As I say, as I just bought this beautiful top from Talbot's recently. It's like, yeah, that's what makes the economy go around. But we have to stop buying stuff and invest in assets, because that is not taxed, and that's where the rich people are making sure that there is growth. That's what I think. Thanks for watching my video, and have a great rest of your Sunday.